I'm delighted that my guest today is Susan Neves, soprano, who will be singing the role of the first chorister in Murder in the Cathedral by Ildebrando Pizzetti. Welcome!
Thank you so much.
I've been so looking forward to having you here because we did Nabucco about 5 seasons ago, and one of the DVDs of Nabucco out there, you were singing Abigaille.
That's right.
I have great respect for anyone who could sing Abigaille. And it's a wonderful performance, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Fabulous. But how on earth, first of all, do you get through a role like that? It's just excruciating. It's got to be so difficult.
Well, in all honesty, it's my passion, that role. I've sung it over 200 times.
Oh my gosh.
And
you're still singing.
Still have the same vocal cords that are still working.
That's just remarkable.
I think each role requires certain things from different artists. And I think I was blessed to have what was needed
what it takes
to sing Abigaille. And I mean, I know many soprano colleagues who are also friends who's, oh my God, didn't make it through one performance of Abigaille, Susan. I don't know how you do it, but then I don't know how they can sing Frau ohne Schatten or something like that. I think we just have, and so Nabucco holds a very, very, very special place in my heart.
Well, it's a great piece. And it really was the third opera of Verdi, and it really announced him.
It absolutely did.
On the opera stage.
It absolutely did, and he's. I just think he's an incredible conductor, and I mean, I'm definitely a Verdi girl. Yeah. I mean, he's, I'm in his court, and
do you like the early roles like Abigaille? Do you sing any of the other?
Oh, sure.
Early roles.
I mean, I've done Il Corsaro, and I've done Macbeth, which is his 5th opera, which is
fabulous.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The Un giorno di regno and Lombardi, no, because that's really lyric coloratura. And I was never a lyric coloratura. I was always a dramatic coloratura. And now, with the passing of the years, we go less coloratura and more dramatic. And but by singing Abigaille, I was also able to sing Norma, which is incredible opera.
And Turandot, I know you sing.
Well, Turandot is new because I didn't want to sing her too early because I didn't want to lose the flexibility that I think singing Turandot too often, because it's a different type of vocality.
Right.
And so I held off on Turandot. I've been offered Turandot forever. And only started doing it a couple of years ago.
Oh, for gosh sake.
Yes.
I assumed that you'd been doing that as long as you've been doing Abigaille.
Oh, no.
Not at all.
No, I've actually only done three productions of Turandot in my life. So, and they're all recently.
Interesting. So, that brings us to Pizzetti. This is, there are only 2 female solo roles in it, and they're rather unremarkably called Chorister 1 and Chorister 2.
That sucks right off the bat.
Yeah. So you don't even have a name.
No.
But they are dramatic roles, both of them. Although I think that the Chorister 1 is a little more dramatic than, and it's got the one aria in the entire piece. Even Thomas Becket, who is the starring role, he's got monologue after monologue, but they're not truly arias. This is a piece that actually could be lifted out of Murder on the Cathedral and sung on its own. And you have the only one. Well, tell me, so what are you doing in this opera? Who is the first chorister, and what is she about?
I think she's the voice of the people. And being that she's a soprano, talks the most. Yeah. And the mezzo kind of joins in and says, I'm in agreement too. And just keep talking.
Yeah, there you go.
And I think we are taking specific issues that happen during the course of the opera and bringing them to light. Whereas the chorus women, who, by the way, sound incredible.
It's a wonderful chorus, isn't it?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they're
Last
terrific.
night, Helene and I went to the rehearsal because since we are the A and B choristers here.
Yeah. Well, you're in a sense the leaders of
we're the leaders
this
of the
group
chorus.
of the women of Canterbury.
Right. So we were there last night, and when they started singing, I was blown away. It's incredibly difficult music.
Yeah.
And I think Charles has done an incredible job. Charles, right? Is the
Charles Pristinari.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I think it's very impressive. And I think the maestro, Renzetti, was very impressed too, because it's not easy music.
No, this whole piece is not easy. And it's not to say that it's atonal music. I mean, fear not. It's very lyrical, but it's very wordy. The word I was using yesterday in rehearsal and chatting with some of you folks was it's chatty.
It is chatty.
It's really chatty. And I mean, there are lots of operas that have lots of words, but often in Italian opera particularly, there's lots of repetition. There is no repetition here in this opera.
No repetition. And sometimes it's not atonal, and it's Italian 8 sounding. Mm-hmm. It just goes to a weird place sometimes.
Yeah. And
my ear wants me to go to a more traditional place. Mm-hmm. And so it's taken a bit of extra concentration and study to sing the pitches that Pizzetti wrote.
Right, yeah.
You know, I have been known, even when I was back at the conservatory, of, you know, finishing off something that I thought I heard, you know, and the teacher would say, well, that's lovely, Susan, but that's not what Bach wrote. No. And I have a little bit of hesitation that there's not a moment of, oh, this is the Neves version of Murder in the Cathedral, right, which we're eliminating, and it will be 100% Pizzetti. It's like, well, I think it should go to the G flat. Well, it doesn't, honey. No, so it's like, no, you know.
Well, I think one of the reasons for that is that it's so modal, to use a kind of a technical term, but Pizzetti was very interested in early music, in sort of restoring some of the Greek modes and Greek traditions of music writing, and then hearkening back to the Florentine masters that first invented opera,
right,
trying to make it have a kind of an ancient feel. And so, yes, the melodic turns don't go where you want them.
They don't. They don't. With Verdi and Puccini, especially if that is your particular passion,
right,
I know where they go. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I'm learning a new Verdi opera, of which there aren't too many that I haven't sung yet, I just know where it goes the first time out.
Right.
You know, whereas this, it's literally what? You know, huh? Okay, all right, we can make that work. And I just think, and also as a character, I'm used to doing much feistier women,
sure,
and much more involved characters. Mm-hmm. I don't die in this opera, which is terrific. Most operas I sing, I die in.
Yeah.
I take poison or something happens, and I don't die in Turandot either, which is another reason that I like it. But I don't die in this one. But I also, there's no tenor to have a love scene with. There's no baritone to be jealous, you know, that I'm in love with the tenor, or to fight with. Yeah. There's no bass. I mean, there are lots of fabulous men parts, but they don't interact with us on a personal level, because, right, you know. And so it's my first undertaking with this type of role. And I'm thrilled that Mr. Campbell gave me this chance. And I've worked with Ferruccio Furlanetto before, in Nabucco, oddly enough.
Ah, of course.
In Parma. Mm-hmm. I was the only non-Italian. Ah. And that was scary.
I'll bet.
That was scary.
Especially in Parma.
I mean,
they're a tough audience.
They are
that's a tough crowd.
Tough crowd. And they are very patriotic. And so they, you know, and so there were a couple of things that would happen in the performance where the audience would be vocal about something that had happened with one of the Italians, and I'd be in the wings going, okay, my goose is cooked. I'm not, if they're complaining about the Italians, I'm not going to go out there. But it worked out fine.
Oh,
you know,
good.
It worked out very well, and the Italians openly embraced this American.
That's great.
And so I sang over there for over 18 years, and speak the language fluently, which in an opera like Murder in the Cathedral is not always your friend, because I want to try and make the Italian sound Italian, but rhythmically sometimes the accent is on the wrong syllable.
Yeah.
And so you're like, I'm sorry.
Well, I noticed that in rehearsal yesterday. That first of all, the maestro picked up a couple of mistakes in the piano vocal score that you've all been working from,
right,
and corrected.
Right.
But there were also places that stumped some of the singers because of what you just talked about, that the accent was not quite on the syllable that you wanted, or that it should be, or that it is in spoken Italian.
Exactly.
Why is that, you think?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, that happens quite often in opera, especially in French operas, which I don't do that much French opera repertoire, but my mother is French, and so I speak French. And then when I'll be coaching or having a master class and someone sings French, it's hard for me to not say, well, you need to do it this way in French because this is the spoken way.
Right.
You know, and even Gounod, who is French, sometimes he said something weird, and I thought, well, there's no final syllable on that word.
But it's there.
Yeah, you know, right. So you have to hear that, you know, the end of that thing. And so for this, because it's also very esoteric, this is not, so what are we having for dinner on the pasta type of conversation. It's, the seasons are changing, and if the people don't agree with Beckett that the sun won't shine and we'll have an acrid,
So lots of imagery.
It is.
Lots of poetic imagery.
It really is, especially in my aria. My aria is like Vivaldi's Four Seasons all put into one aria. I talk about the spring and the summer and the trees and the blooming of flowers. So I am the visual effect for this opera. Really.
So what's the biggest challenge of this role for you?
The biggest challenge is, for me, making music out of these pitches. And I think the more that I become accustomed to hearing what's happening around me, I'll be able to make music out of it. I mean, I'm a musician. I started out as a cellist and was a cellist till I was 19 years old.
That's a great segue. That's wonderful.
And so I can feel the music.
Right.
But at this point, I'm just being the dumb soprano going, la, 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 what? And it's like, well, so that's upsetting. And so when you're concentrating so hard on singing the right pitches, and this tessitura is not conducive to the most melodic, beautiful singing, it's very tough for a dramatic soprano because I'm up in what we call the passaggio,
right?
Which
is
the top of the staff, tough place to be living, and I stay up there the whole time, and
it's not a problem to go through it.
No, but
I'm
up
above it or to be below.
I'm in it.
But when you're right in it all
the whole time,
that's tough.
And so yesterday I was thinking, day one of rehearsal, and my throat is going, stop singing, and it's just because I wasn't singing. I was making the pitches happen.
Right.
And so I've been working with Kirsten Roach, and she said, oh, Susan, think butterfly.
Ah.
And I sang this phrase, and she said, that's it.
Oh, there you go.
See, so and that what makes her a brilliant coach, is that you have to know what to say to make it click for the artist that you're dealing with. And she's also very, it's funny because, pianists are incredible musicians, and she'll say, well, this is the augmented diminished ninth with the ha, and I just want to go, play the damn note. Where is my pitch? And so she's like, well, see, Susan, it's a bling, 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 and I was like, and my E flat would be where
exactly,
and so, but she's good because. Or she'll say, oh, the oboe's got this. Oh, the oboe. Well, great. I mean, an oboe against a dramatic soprano. Who's going to win? Dramatic soprano. I mean, actually, I told this story yesterday, but I was singing a Hindemith opera in Holland, Matthijs der Mahler. And there's this huge cacophony after the death of somebody, and then I have to sing an E flat as it so happened, and I just thought, where am I going to get that my pitch out of this bling, 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 bling thing? And so I turned to the orchestra and I said, because they're great in Holland, everyone speaks English, and I said, all right, who's ever playing an E flat, I've got $100 for you, so play loudly. It ended up being an oboe.
Really?
And so this poor little oboe's like, trying to play as loud as he could. But in every performance, I mean, I never missed it because I was tuned. My ear was tuned to hear that sound in the cacophony of stuff, you know, but and I came in every time.
You paid off?
I paid it off. I paid it off. And one of my colleagues here yesterday, in one of these less than lyric moments, said, okay, there's going to be some $100 passed around for this orchestra too. You know, so it's like, but I think Maestro Renzetti has explained that it's the next step in the Italian romanticism classic, you know, thing. It's the next generation.
Right.
And so that basically we are continuing, you know, the Verdi, Puccini, Ponchielli, Zandonai, all that kind of lush Italians. And it is lush. It really is. And
once the orchestra is added, the orchestration is brilliant. And one of the really sort of cool things is that Pizzeti was a composition teacher for many years in Parma as well as in Florence.
Oh, wow.
And one of his students was the teacher of John Williams.
Oh, my goodness.
The movie scorer. Yeah, yeah. And I'm trying to remember the name. Tedesco, Castelnuovo Tedesco, Mario Castelnuovo Tedesco.
Okay, very
Studied with Pizzeti in Italy and then came to Hollywood, wrote lots of scores. He also wrote some operas that are kind of wonderful that we never, ever hear. But he then ended up being one of John Williams' teachers. So you know where that rich, that lush orchestration that Williams loves to add to these great films,
right?
You know, came from.
Isn't that interesting?
From Pizzeti, which is kind of cool.
It is kind of cool. I mean, I think the audiences will be really swept in and taken in by this, because the music, it all fits together. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've been watching a DVD from a production in Bari,
right,
and it's glorious.
It works.
It works. It definitely works. Hearing it with just the piano and everything is discombobulating, you know. But it really, I think it's going to be wonderful.
Well,
I think it's going to be wonderful.
Like all great Italian composers, he knows how to create a mood and atmosphere from the first note to the last. And that's
absolutely.
What I'm looking forward to.
I think it's going to be great.
It's really
We're going to have a ball. Please come. You'll love it.
Thank you, Susan, for being with us.
My pleasure, sweetheart.
Welcome to San Diego.
Thank you. Yay.